Well, welcome to the fourth of 5 videos looking at how to monitor and control a traditional project management project. And what we're going to do during this particular video is look at this idea of earned value. So when you're planning a project, you typically follow a S-curve where when you're mapping time against progress, that you're on schedule if 1/3 of the time has elapsed and you've completed about 1/4 of the project. And that things accelerate so that 2/3 time you've got 3/4 project, and then you finish on time. So it forms a kind of gentle S. And what you're doing with earned value is you're actually tracking, okay, the actual versus the budgeted. And in this particular case, you've got a project that had no ramp-up time. Look how much progress was made early on. There was no learning time associated with this. I mean, that line just goes straight up in terms of progress, and then things slowed down, but it did finish on time. So this is an example of an aggressive curve associated with a project. All right, here's the curve you want to avoid. Again, you've got that S-curve. But what has happened is lots and lots and lots of time has passed, but very, very little progress. And then a big, huge rush at the end. Look at the line at the end. It's just going straight up as you're trying to complete work. And again, the kind of highlighted point on this curve, that red curve, 70 to 80% of the time's gone by, but only about 30% of the work. So you got 70% of the work to do in 20 to 30% of the time, not a position you want to be in. All right, let's continue to explore this. And the idea is measuring percentages of work that's actually completed, so you can measure tasks completed and not completed over time, and tracking that. And then you just want to plot that out and then calculate, if you will, a cost variance. So that cost variance is going to be the difference between the actual versus the baseline. So your baseline is that green line indicated in this particular chart. Your red line is your actual. And then the purple line is that timestamp when you're going out and actually doing an update and grabbing the report. And so if you can calculate that difference between where you are in terms of progress versus time, then you can map that back and generate a cost variance. And then you can also generate a schedule variance. So that schedule variance is going to be a kind of horizontal line between the actual and baseline project. And then that allows you to go back. If you've got this idea of a cost variance and a schedule variance, then what you should be able to do is go back and calculate those things as it relates to this particular project. So here's an example of that where we're going to measure earned value. And what we're doing is we're kind of translating that schedule slippage, okay, and that lack of progress back into dollars. So let's look at it. So the first variable is this PV, and that's really your scheduled or budgeted. It goes back to your green line on the previous chart. See this green line across here? So we're going to do $500 worth of work over 5 days. And so your PV is going to equal $500. Your EV, your schedule slippage, okay, has led to where you can only do 3 days of work over that period. And so what has happened is you've got a schedule variance of 200, which would be 500 minus 300. You still have $200 worth of work, and that's causing a schedule issue. And then AC is going to be the actual cost of the work performed. Okay, so you had budgeted 300 or 500, but you've done it with 400, and so you've got a variance of $100. So again, if you start to map that out, you can see where those lines are at different points, and you can, again, in this case, you're taking your PV, AC, and EV over time, mapping it out, and you can see now the schedule variance and the cost variance associated with your particular project. All right. If you plot these out to the future, assuming that the lines remain on the relatively the same curve, you can again look at where is this project going to end up. And it looks like in this particular case, your cost is going to be above what you planned, but you may have a reserve associated to address that. All right, the last kind of idea that we're going to cover during this short video is this idea of a schedule performance index that's taking your EV and dividing it by your PV. And again, how close are you on schedule? And then a cost performance index, all right? And that's going to be taking EV and dividing it by AC. And this should generate numbers where if you're under 1 in terms of that index value, then you're over budget or behind schedule, all right? If you're above 1, then you're under budget or ahead of schedule. So numbers greater than 1 are good. Numbers less than 1 are bad. Well, let's plot this out and look at how this looks on a couple of different projects real quick. All right, so in this particular case, the S stands for schedule, of course. C stands for cost. So what's going on here? It looks like the cost is headed in the right direction and the schedule is definitely headed in the wrong direction because, again, you want numbers that are greater than 1. So in this particular case, the schedule is falling behind and now is actually significantly behind in terms of this particular project. All right, let's look at a different one. Ooh, this is a good chart. Look at this. This project's doing fine. Okay, so your schedule and cost is ahead of schedule and you're under budget, and it looks to be accelerating in that direction, although mildly, but it is accelerating in the correct direction. Here's the exact opposite. You've got a project that was pretty much on schedule but now has fallen behind and is over budget, and intervention is going to be necessary to get this project back on track. All right, this brings us to the last chart. And again, you can, if you've got a portfolio of multiple projects, you can track all of them and see how you're doing and what is your average over time for that kind of portfolio of projects associated to a particular project manager. All right, well, very good. This brings us actually to the end of the 4th of 5 videos looking at how to monitor and control a traditional project management project. And what we're going to do during the next video is look at this idea of problem escalation and how to deal with issues that arise during a particular project. So keep on studying, keep on learning, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.